So, a minus 5 divided by 6 equals negative 3. This is identical to the last example that I did. There are two questions, Garrett, if you could get onto the correct page, that'd be great. There are two ways you could do this question. You could either, who asked for the 15, by the way? Who am I talking to? Jared. You could either do it the polynomial division way, or you could throw a set of brackets around the numerator and do it that way. Which way would you like me to demonstrate? Okay, so we're going to break it up into the polynomial way. Oh, that's going to look like, you know what? For this question, that's terrible. You don't want to do it that way for this question. So I'm going to do the brackets way. Putting the brackets around that means I want to, if I'm SAM-debbing this, because there's brackets there, brackets are at the end of SAM-deb. We want to see if we can get rid of anything using subtraction, addition, multiplication, or division first. There's no addition and subtraction outside, but we are dividing by something. And to undo the division, what we want to do is we want to multiply both sides by that 6. So those 6's are going to cancel, and I'm going to get a minus 5. We can get rid of the brackets now because there's nothing else here. And that's going to equal negative 3 times 6, which is negative 18. Good. And so now I've got a minus 5 equals negative 18. I don't want a minus 5. I just want a. So how do I get rid of minus 5? The opposite of subtraction is? Addition. Thank you, Dakota. I want to add 5 now to both sides. On the left-hand side, they cancel. A equals, and then that's negative 18 plus 5 is? Negative 13. You're at negative 18 and you're moving up. So getting less negative. There you go. You wanted 16, Hassan. Yeah. So let's do 16. 16 is a little different because this division isn't under everything. It's just under the n. So what we're going to do first is we're going to get rid of the things that are not in the same term, Hassan, as the n. We're going to get rid of this negative 10. What's the opposite of negative 10? Positive 10. So we're going to go plus 10 on both sides. It's going to cancel the negative 10 on the left. We're going to be left with n over 3 equals, and it's positive, so I don't have to write the sign. Negative 12 plus 10 is? Negative 2. Thank you. And credit where credit is. I did see you answer that, Dakota. The last piece, now I've got n over 3. Well, n over 3 is division. So as Dakota just said, we're going to multiply both sides by 3. Here it's going to cancel, and I'm going to get n equals negative 2 times 3 is? Sit down properly on your desk and leave Jared alone, who's going to get off his phone right now. Or I will take it from him and send it down to the office for the day. It is, in fact, negative 6. Okay. Anybody else want to see anything from here?
How about... I didn't do...
Garrett.
Can we do 2?
What a catch. Question 2.
Yeah.
Question 2 is not assigned. But we can do question 2. I've got negative 8 equals negative 8 plus n. What's the opposite of negative 8? Plus 8. So we're going to plus 8 on both sides. On the left-hand side, they cancel, leaving me with n. And that was the right-hand side. On the left-hand side, negative 8 plus 8 is?
0.
So n equals 0. You're done.
So that's what I wrote here with a question mark.
Well, now there it is without the question mark. It is definitive. N equals 0. Okay. Here we go. If there are no other questions, let us look at the more and more interesting questions. We've got variables now on both sides. It's the best. Variables on both sides. Find me page 6.
Ow.
I think it's right there. Yeah, you're good. Page 6.
2 plus 5 is 7.
Nope, don't do, yes. Before we start, I would like a Tic Tac. Here we go.
Where are we going?
On an incredible mathematical journey through our mind.
Can that journey lead me to?
If we have variables on both sides of the equation, like we do in this question, then the technique is to move all variables to one side and the constants to the other. I'm going to do the same question. I'm going to do it both ways. And I'm going to show you which is, there will be a better way. Because you know what? You know why they're finishing? Because they care about you. Because they want you to learn math. They want you to move on with them to the next grade. They don't want to be like, oh no, Hassan was on his phone the whole semester. He has to do Math 9 again because he didn't learn anything. They care about you. They love you. They want you with them. So put your phone away and pay attention. Okay. So we want to move the variables to the left in this first example. So I've got 2x plus 5 equals 6x minus 7. And this first example, we're going to start by moving all the variables to the left. So I've got x's here, 2 of them, and 6x's over here. This 6x is positive. So to move it over, I need to do the opposite of whatever is on the side I want to get rid of. If this 6x is positive, what's the opposite of positive 6x? Negative, yes, negative 6x. And whatever you do to one side, you must do to the other. On the right-hand side, where we started, that 6x minus 6x is going to give us nothing. It's gone, and all we have left is negative 7. And now I've got 2x minus 6x that I need to deal with. If I have 2 x's and I take away 6 of them,
4 x's.
Nope.
Negative 4 x's.
There it is. That's going to give me negative 4x. And nothing has happened with that plus 5 yet.
Wait, oh my god, there's a plus 5.
You betcha. It's that time of day. We're just being real dramatic. That's okay.
Whoa.
So now, I want to work at getting the x's alone. Now that we've got them all to one side, we're going to deal with everything that's not an x. So this plus 5 here. Yes, Dakota, we're going to take 5 away from both sides. Because the 5 is positive, we're going to take 5 away. Whatever we do to one side, we do to the other. I'm going to put a little slashy bit through there. They cancel. And I have negative 4x left on this side here. You have to include the sign that's out front. And on the right, I've got negative 7 minus 5. If I'm at negative 7, and I'm taking more things away.
Negative 2.
Thank you. And now I've got negative 4x equals negative 12. Now, recall, when I have a number, it doesn't matter if it's negative or positive, when I've got a number, but right up next to a letter, with no mathematical operation written between them, how are they attached?
The number?
This number and that letter. No, this number, 4, negative 4, and x are attached how mathematically?
Oh, the x is 1?
Nope. When there's no symbol, thank you, Sahil. These two are being multiplied together. This is negative 4 times x. So to get rid of the negative 4 and leave the x alone, we have to do the opposite of multiplying. The opposite of multiplying is dividing. And whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So I'm going to divide by negative 4 on both sides. All I'm left with now is that x. It does not divide away. It stays where it is. And now on the right-hand side, I've got negative 12 divided by negative 4. Negative divided by a negative is going to be? And 12 over 4 is? Or, yes, Riley, how many times, Ethan, does 4 go into 12?
3.
Thank you. It is, in fact, 3.
I didn't know that.
So sometimes thinking about it as division, I know screws some of you up. So instead of going, oh, what's 12 divided by 3, you can think of it bottom up. How many times does 4 go into 12?
2 times.
Nope, 3 times. And when you're multiplying and dividing, the double negative is going to make it positive.
I did it on the wrong side.
So that's one way to do this question. Here's the other way. Instead of moving everything to the left, let's move everything to the right. So over here, I've got 2x plus 5 equals, and then on the right-hand side, 6x minus 7. If I want to take all my variables and drag them kicking and screaming to the right side, how am I going to get rid of this 2x? It's positive, so yes, Dakota and Ethan. I'm going to go negative 2x on both sides. And stack your work. Like I'm trying to demonstrate here a technique.
Yeah.
Mimic me. But not, not in everything I say or do. So 2x minus 2x is?
0x.
Yes, 0x is 0. So it's gone. All I'm left with is 5. And it's positive, so I don't have to write the sign. And that's going to equal, yes, 6x minus 2x is 4x minus 7. So take a look at what we've got here. Over here, I've got 5 equals 4x minus 7. And over here, if you can look at underneath what I canceled, I've got negative 4x plus 5 equals negative 7. When you move variables left or right, that first step will either make the number in front of the variable negative, or it will make the number in front of the variable positive. Regardless of which way you choose to move, to the left or to the right, for the sake of minimizing your mistakes, avoid making things negative at all costs. Avoid making them negative. You're going to see here that it doesn't matter which way we go. They both will result in the same answer. Avoid making the variables negative. So I've got 5 equals 4x minus 7. I don't want 4x minus 7. I want to get the x by itself. The first thing we have to do in SAMDEB is deal with the addition or subtraction. I've got subtraction here. So instead of minusing 7, Dakota said it twice now, we're going to add 7 to both sides.
I can never hear you. Yes.
Because you're paying attention to me and I'm paying attention to all of you.
I'm paying attention to everything.
Clearly not, otherwise you hear Dakota. So 5 plus 7 is?
12. I think.
Dakota said it a second before you did, so I'm going to go with that being correct. So this is equal to 4x. Now everyone's going to be listening for Dakota's voice. It's not hard. You just have to pay attention.
I can hear that.
So now I've got 4x. That's 4 times x to get the x by itself. We're going to divide by 4. And we're going to get now it's 12 over 4, which is basically the same as what we had before. We had negative 12 over negative 4. But now they're both positive. The odds of you dropping a minus sign here are slimmer because there aren't any. 12 over 4 is, or how many times does 4 go into 12? 3 times. It doesn't matter which way you go, left or right. You will get the same answer. So to make your life easier, avoid making variables negative. Big star here. Keep variables positive.
Don't be negative, be positive.
As much as humanly possible. In math, keep things positive. You want to be negative on your personal life or in your own time? That's up to you. But don't be negative on my time.
But what if I'm...
Okay, that's it. This is today's lesson. There's nothing else. Well, hands up if you want me to see me do one more.
I forgot everything.
Okay, well, let's do another one. Let's go to the grossest one I can give you. Here we go. We're going to go straight to Ugly Monster.
It's the like terms.
Here we go.
Are we doing that?
If I have, the first thing we always check, like terms. And you got to be careful when you're doing like terms. You only can work on one side of the equal sign at a time.
2n?
So I've got on the left-hand side 4n minus 2 plus n minus 4. What are my like terms on the left-hand side? 4n
That's 5n.
and n. And then Garrett said, what'd you say, Garrett?
Negative 6.
4 and negative 2.
Almost.
Negative 4.
-4 and -2. So Ethan already said it. 4n plus n is 5n. And then I've got Garrett's -2 and -4 is going to give us?
6 and negative 6. 6 negative 6.
Negative 2 minus 4 is negative 6. Slow down, Ethan. Just breathe. On the right-hand side, it's not 3n. It's going to be, okay, sorry, Ethan, stop. Pause. Slow down. What are the like terms? Negative 3n and positive 6n. It will, in fact, be positive 3n. Negative 3 plus 6 is 3. And the n comes along for the ride. Because it's Tuesday, last block, and he can barely contain himself. Tuesdays are always the fun day with you guys. And any Friday, that's a day 2. Any Friday, that's a day 2. And Tuesdays are difficult for me last block. The negative 8 hasn't happened yet, so let's just toss down the negative 8 there. And now, we are going to, you don't have to do it both ways. Zach, pay attention to the screen. Harsh, get off your phone. Hey. I'm going to give trouble to who I'm going to give trouble to. Now, we don't have to do both methods. We just want to pick the method that's going to give us positive variables. I've got a 5n on the left, and I've got a positive 3n on the right. Which way will bringing the variables keep them positive? Bringing the positive 5 over or the positive 3 over? You have to think about how it's going to happen. Bringing them all the way to the, because this 5n is positive and this 3n is positive, to bring them to the left means I'm going to have to subtract 3. 5 minus 3 is going to be positive. So yes, Ethan, bringing everything to the left is the right call in this question. To do that, I'm going to subtract the 3n. And whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. 5n minus 3n is positive 2n. Which we like. We want to keep those variables positive. So now I've got 2n minus 6 equals negative 8. I want to get rid of that negative 6. Instead of taking away 6, we're going to add 6. Whatever I do to one side of the equation, I have to do to the other. So on the left, they cancel, leaving me with 2n. On the right, I've got negative 8 plus 6 is negative 2. So now, on the left-hand side, how am I going to get n by itself? I am multiplying, so we're going to have to divide it away. 2 divided by 2 is 1, leaving me with 1n. And then negative 2 divided by 2 is? Thank you, Dakota. It is, in fact, a negative 1. Negative divided by a positive is negative. 2 over 2 is 1. So there is a way, and in this case, the best way was to move everything to the left. No, it's exactly what I did. I moved all my variables to the left. By taking these ones away, I moved them to the left. If you look at this one, what's the best way to move my variables here? Sorry? Yeah, to get rid of the 4n, that is the best choice here. Because it's going to keep them positive, and if I got rid of the 6n, there'd be nothing left over here. In this question, what's the best way to move the variables? Sabrina, yes. Why? But you're right, that is the best way. Why is that the best way? Shh. No, I want to hear from Sabrina. Sabrina, okay, so everyone heard what Sabrina said. She said, I want to move all of my variables to the left. I'm assuming that's what she meant by the push to the left. So I've got 2y minus 4 equals 17 minus 5y. How am I going to get this negative 5y to the left? How? By adding 5y. That's going to get rid of those negative variables, and it's going to make them positive over here. So it's going to be 7y minus 4 equals 17. So yes, I guess someone's finishing this. So now I've got 7y minus 4, so I'm going to add 4 to both sides. 7y equals 21. Very good. Okay. Yes, Javon. Ooh, getting a calculator. Just go for it. Okay, so now I want you to practice. I am going to free you to practice. I'm going to flip the page here real quick because there's a few things to write down. It says, after you solve the unknown, we've been doing this already since the first lesson. You can verify your answer by substituting your answer into the original equation. If the left side of the equation is the same as the right side, your answer is correct. I've been demonstrating this repeatedly since the first lesson. So I'm not going to demonstrate it again. I figure the best use of our time here is for me to get you to start working. Miss S, Angat, and myself can then help and float. Here's what I want you to do. There are 20 questions. Starting on this page here, on page 8, I want you to do the evens and 11. And if you flip the page again, this is still part of it. You do have to do the checking. I want to see the checking. It says cryptic quiz.
What?
This I also want you to do. You have almost an hour, so much time to play and practice. Some of you will cruise through all of this, and that's great. Some of you need the time. That's also great. You have it. Let's try it. We're not adding a lot new. I will help. Miss S will help. God will help. And away we go. Good luck.